The next article I wanted to look at is titled Christian Lawmaker Falsely Claims No COVID Deaths in Texas Since Mask Mandate Ended. This is on the Friendly Atheist website written by Hemant Mehta. So let's give this a read and see what it says. If there's one thing you need to know about Congresswoman Lauren Boebert, it's that the Republican lawmaker is a conspiracy theorist. If there are two things you need to know about her, it's that she's a conspiracy theorist who loves Jesus. Those are probably things she'd say about herself, even. I don't know. She kind of rejects the title conspiracy theorist, but she totally is. You know, this story is about Lauren Boebert saying that there were no COVID deaths in Texas. And I got to thinking, before I watched the video, I was like, come on, this is hyperbolic, right? Like, she didn't actually say Texas has had 0 COVID deaths since in 2 months or whatever, right? Certainly she wasn't that specific and incorrect. Just wait. We're about to find out. Let's keep reading. Which is a long way of saying she's a liar who has no shame about it because she feels like she's promoting a righteous cause. Last night, she appeared on the Real America's Voice Network's show, Dr. Gina Primetime, to talk about how COVID is no longer an issue in states that supposedly mishandled COVID. In fact, in Texas, where mask mandates were lifted months ago, she claimed there hasn't been a single COVID death since. Okay, let's watch this video and see what she actually had to say, because this can't be it, right? This has to be hyperbole.
You know, I'm really enjoying telling Speaker Pelosi to kiss my mask, though.
Mask and ass do not rhyme with each other. If you wanted that to be clever, Lauren Boebert, ass and mask need to rhyme. It was not clever. Certainly not as clever as she thought it was, based on this shit-eating grin she's got here.
Yesterday.
Oh, and a chuckle even. Wow, a chuckle from both of them. They thought ass and mask rhymed closely enough that it was worthy of a chuckle.
Thomas Massey, Madison Cawthorn, Brian Mast, Beth Van Dyne, and several other colleagues joined me in refusing to wear a mask on the House floor.
I'm telling you guys, we live in a separate reality from these people. Like, the evidence that masks are actually useful and accomplish a goal and lower the death rate, lower the case rate, is irrefutable. It's out there. Why the fuck do you think surgeons have worn masks since the dawn of fucking time? Well, not since the dawn of time, literally, but you get my meaning. Why do surgeons wear masks if they're completely useless? We have the data, the evidence, the scientific papers to prove masks actually slow the spread. Now, why is this woman obsessed with speeding up the spread of a deadly pandemic? Is her goal to make the government dysfunctional? Because that's the end result if the population can't get back to work, can't participate in the economy. Using masks and getting vaccinated are the two fastest ways of getting this government and this economy and this society back on track. Why is she and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Deanna Lorraine and all of the others, why are they obsessed with making things worse? I do not fucking get it. I would wonder if it was because Biden is president and they just want to stick it to the Democrats, except they were saying this exact same shit when Trump was president. Trump was saying this same exact shit. They had to fucking twist the guy's arm to get him to go out there and say, well, I'll wear a mask sometimes. And then, like, 10 minutes after he steps off stage, he suddenly does a 180. He's like, no, I'm not wearing masks. That's stupid. Why do they want to get people killed? There is just no logical explanation for this at this point, really.
Thomas Massey and I both got warnings, and both of our letters ended up in the same exact place, ironically, the trash.
See, this is why you give them $50,000 fines for each violation instead of a warning letter.
Leftists won't even listen to the bureaucrats at the CDC. And it just goes to show that this party's follow the science slogan is a total joke, just like this entire administration, just like the entire Democrat Party.
I think what she's probably trying to do here is counteract the message that the Democrats are desperately trying to get people to just follow the fucking science. It is so straightforward. We have the scientific research to show that masks are useful. And she is trying to counteract that and make people think that the Democrats are just full of it, instead of just owning up and being responsible and wearing a fucking mask.
They want to tell you to listen to science and listen to data and facts, but they haven't done that for more than a year. 2 weeks to slow the spread turned into communism.
Okay. Oh, God. 2 weeks to slow the spread turned into communism. Okay. First of all, 2 weeks to slow the spread, that happened under Trump's watch. Any reputable scientist knew it was going to be more than 2 weeks. They all knew it would be more than 2 weeks. In fact, most of the population who is capable of rational thought knew it was probably going to be more than 2 weeks. When we saw everything happening in China, we knew that it had been going on in China for months, and we also knew that China was doing really fucked up stuff to solve the problem, like literally welding people into their homes and not letting them out, and then prying the doors open after a month and finding people dead in there because they couldn't get out to get food or water. But the virus didn't spread. That's what China's point was. Obviously, that's completely the wrong thing to do, and it's evil, truly evil that China did that. But something this insidious, like the virus, isn't going to go away in 2 weeks. Most rational thinking people knew that. I wasn't completely convinced that it was something to worry about in the beginning. But when I saw it start popping up around different states, when I saw the WHO name it a pandemic, that's when I accepted it. I knew it was going to be a problem that was going to be on our backs for a while. So back to what Boebert was saying here. Nobody really of rational thought believed that, but it was said under Trump's administration.
2 weeks to slow the spread turned into communism really, really quickly. Now it's
what is fucking communist about what's happening right now? I'm completely at a loss for that one. Does she even know what communism is? I bet she has no fucking clue what it is.
Show me your papers. But don't forget, Gina, Texas removed their mask mandate 2 months ago, and Sleepy Joe called it Neanderthal thinking.
Because it was. It's fucking stupid. Using a mask slows the spread. It helps people. It prevents death. It's Neanderthal thinking.
No, sir. Republicans are just following the science. And since removing the mask mandates 2 months ago, Texas has not reported a single COVID death. Not one.
Huh. Well, that's oddly specific, isn't it? So she's saying, since let's get this claim right. Let's listen one more time. Make sure that we have it clear in our heads.
Just following the science. And since removing the mask mandates 2 months ago, Texas has not reported a...
Since removing the mask mandates 2 months ago, Texas has not reported a single death. Not one.
Single COVID death. Not one.
Okay. Couple of problems with that. First of all, reporting a COVID death and having a COVID death are two different things. There have been efforts to underreport or lower the report in one way or another. But aside from that, that's just factually inaccurate. Texas has reported lots of deaths since then. So let's actually look this up real quick. This is COVID statistics for the state of Texas, okay? So the state of Texas has had 2.94 million cases total and 51,366 deaths reported since the very beginning, basically, since March 17th, 2020. That's when this starts, this graph, right? If we zoom in, let's say 30 days, okay? And let's switch to deaths. Right here, on May 16th, we have one day where 0 deaths were reported. Although there are a lot of scientific papers making the argument that cases and deaths as a result of COVID are actually about 3 times higher than the reported cases and deaths. They're very convincing scientific research papers. But let's just set that aside. Let's set it aside and look at this. There is a single day in the past 30 days where no deaths had been reported, but the 7-day average was steadily 45, 43, 44, and then 41. I mean, it is trending downward. I will give you that. But we look at the 7-day average when we deal with things like this, and it is not 0. She said 2 months ago, though, right? And this article originally, I believe, this article came out May 20th, and I think the video came out just a couple days before that. So we're going to assume what she was talking about was March, right? Let's say March 1st or March 20th. So the rolling 7-day average, March 1st all the way through, we've got 228 deaths on the 7-day average. On March 1st, we had 129, 275, 274, 293. I'm not actually seeing a single day here that's 0. I'm not really sure what she was talking about. So I got to looking and wondering, where the fuck did this claim come from? Did she make this up? Did she hear this somewhere? Like, where did this come from? I have no fucking clue where she got this, right? Well, I found it. This is on Fox News, published 3 days ago. Texas reports 0 COVID deaths months after liberal media predicted doomsday as Abbott reopened the state. Let's read it. Today, Texas reported 0 COVID-related deaths, the only time that's happened since data was tracked in March 2020. Republican Texas Governor Greg Abbott tweeted on Sunday night, the fewest COVID cases in over 13 months, the lowest 7-day COVID positivity rate ever. The lowest COVID hospitalizations in 11 months. Thanks, Texans. Actually, you shouldn't be thanking Texans. You should be thanking the federal government who sped up vaccine production, who released the patents on the vaccines, who funded the vaccine efforts. You should be thanking the companies who developed it and the people who invented it in the first place. You have a lot of people to thank, but basically none of them are Texans. Perhaps most surprised by the Lone Star State's dramatic drop in COVID cases and deaths are his critics, who slammed Abbott's decision back in March to fully reopen his state. It was a stupid decision. It was a stupid decision then, and it's still considered a stupid decision as far as I'm concerned. It was a bad idea. You're getting more people killed. Masks save lives. By encouraging people not to wear them, which is basically what he was doing there, you're getting more people killed. How much quicker would you have gotten to a day, a single day, where you had 0 reported cases, if you just encourage people to wear their fucking masks? What is wrong with people that they use this as some kind of fucking vindication? No, it's foolish to do something like this, and you got more people killed by choosing to do that. Those bodies are on your conscience. His critics went far beyond Democrats, who surely made themselves vocal in opposition to Texas reopening, with President Biden calling it Neanderthal thinking. I think it's pronounced Neanderthal, actually. I've been mispronouncing it this whole time. So did Lauren Boebert, though. And former Rep. Beto O'Rourke slamming the death warrant for Texas while accusing the governor of killing the people of Texas. He absolutely, for sure, most definitely got Texans killed. At least some. And the only reason that Texas came out of it with as few casualties as they did is because the federal government funded and pushed the vaccine efforts as hard as they did. They have the federal government and the taxpayers to thank for their situation, not Greg Abbott. And it's a shame that they're using this as a piece of propaganda to make themselves look better. And apparently it's working, because we have Lauren Boebert out here not only spreading this piece of misinformation at best, but morphing it into a flat-out lie.
Since removing the mask mandates 2 months ago, Texas has not reported a single COVID death, not one.
There is no part of that that is truthful and accurate. And is she going to face consequences for lying to the public like that, misinforming them, making them completely misunderstand the situation? Of course not. Of course there won't be consequences for a public figure doing something like that. For a congresswoman doing something like that. Nobody gives a fuck. She's just going to sit there and keep lying and lying and lying her ass off. We have to do something about this. We have to teach critical thinking in school or something, seriously. Because this problem is not going away.